Hi everyone, and thank you for joining me. I just got back from a cruise with my fiance and his family. We were celebrating his dad's birthday, and I did some painting on the ship, so I thought I would share some of that process with you, as well as the materials I brought with me, so you can see how I make my art when I travel. Also, keep in mind this is just what I did this time, and I'm sure there are many better ways to approach it, as you'll see. It's just what I did, so yeah, it's not like the best way to approach it. But I'm really glad that none of my art materials were confiscated because I was really nervous about that. But thankfully all my babies made it on the ship, and I was so relieved because I don't know how else I would have dealt with hopelessly missing my cat the entire time if I didn't have painting as a coping mechanism. The pochade box I have is a sienna pochade box. It has a palette and adjustable easel built into it. The box also has a storage accessory which does fit art materials, and you can put it on a tripod if you wanted, so you could stand and paint. I didn't want to pack too many things, definitely didn't want to pack my tripod, so I figured I could just use the tables and chairs on the ship or put it on my lap, so I did not bring that extra storage piece. These are the brushes I packed with me. I use Princeton brushes, Creative Mark, Black Swan, and Royal and Langnickel. I tried to pack a small variety of shapes and sizes. I should probably replace some of my brushes soon because they've definitely seen better days. And I didn't pack too many because they're honestly kind of annoying to clean as it is, but while traveling it's even more annoying. So I didn't bring too many. It's probably my least favorite part about painting is having to clean my brushes. For my mediums, I brought Gamsol to clean my brushes and mix with my mediums, as well as Galkyd and Galkyd gel for the medium. Galkyd and Galkyd gel speed up the drying time by a lot, and the painting is almost completely dried to the touch in just over a day, which is important when you're traveling because it would be super inconvenient to have a painting stay wet for too long and you can't pack it up. So it wasn't too much of a problem in my case because I was on a giant floating hotel, so it's easy to just leave a painting out to dry. And these are the colors I brought. I'm actually missing one color. I don't know how I forgot it, but somehow I did, and that was burnt sienna. It wasn't an absolute emergency, to be honest, because it's really not that hard to just mix this color. But yeah, oops. The colors I did remember to take with me are titanium white, ivory black, burnt umber, alizarin crimson, cadmium red light, yellow ochre, cadmium lemon, radiant green, sap green, phthalo green, cobalt teal, and ultramarine blue. Honestly, you don't even need this many colors. You can get away with just the primaries and a black and white, but some of them have unique pigments that you just can't mix with primaries, and I really wanted those beautiful pigments, so I brought them. But I really should try that out next time and challenge myself with a super limited palette. Here's how else I messed up. I forgot to pack a special container for keeping my used Gamsol, so I emptied out my ibuprofen bottle and just used that for the Gamsol, and then I put the Galkyd on the lid, and it worked okay for the circumstances, but it was super messy and definitely not something I'd want to use again. It was just like a last minute type of solution. And you pretty much had to keep the bottle upright or else it will spill out because that container was not made for any type of fluids. But yeah, big mistake on my part. Won't do that again. I normally clean my palette with a glass scraper, but because it has a razor blade on it, it's considered a weapon, and I did not want to risk packing it up, so to clean my palette, I would use tissues. I put a bit of Gamsol on them and just wipe the palette clean while the paint was still wet. I also brought a few tiny wood panels just in case I wanted to do some small plein airs off the ship in Jamaica, but sadly we were there for less than a day, so I didn't get the opportunity to do that. I'll have to come back to Jamaica someday because it was incredibly beautiful and I would love to do plein airs there. When it came to cleaning my brushes, I would make sure to get all the paint off with Gamsol, dry them off really nicely, and then rinse them off with soap and water in the sink. I only did this after making sure that pretty much all of the medium and pigment was off the brushes. Make sure that you never ever pour odorless mineral spirits down the drain. It's horrible for the environment, it's illegal. So I used my Gamsol very minimally and let it soak into tissues, evaporate, and then threw out those dried tissues. This is okay to do with Gamsol, but make sure not to do this if you're using linseed oil, because linseed oil generates heat as it dries and it can spontaneously combust, and nobody wants that. Before I left for the cruise, I printed out some landscapes to use as references. I found these on pexels.com, and they were royalty free, which means I'm allowed to use them. Normally I use my own photography for reference in virtually all my work, but I felt really compelled to paint these two scenes. I thought they were really beautiful. So I started off with an underpainting to get the basic shapes and values down, and then proceeded with colors. It was really relaxing to paint to the sound of water, and it was my first time ever painting on a ship. I'm also low-key obsessed with Titanic, and there was a really beautiful sunset, and the lights on the ship reminded me of Titanic, and it was just so beautiful. And I'm also really glad we didn't hit an iceberg. Not that we could this time of year on that path, but still, our trip had a happy ending. Yay. When it came to setting up my pochade box, it wasn't hard at all. I just kind of carried it in my arms on the way to the deck and searched for a nice spot that isn't too dark or in direct sunlight. And setting up the box is super quick and easy. I just love this box so much. My fiance got it for me for Christmas, and he secretly found out from my artist friend which box I wanted. He's just the best, and that makes this pochade box even more special to me. Painting on the boat was really fun. Sometimes people would stop and watch, and sometimes they would offer words of encouragement, which is always appreciated, of course. But I'm also a really introverted person, so painting in public was definitely far outside my comfort zone. I got to work on 2 landscapes during this trip. They're not done yet, and I will finish them at home, but I'm really happy with how far I got. One of them has these blue dots on it, which was an accident, and that's okay. I'll just paint over that. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little travel art vlog. In the comment section, I would love to know if you've ever brought your oil paints on a trip and how that experience went for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm wishing you all a beautiful and inspiring day, and I hope to see you in my next video.